Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Ramonepreston Show. If you're coming on, please do me a quick favor. Hit that like button, hit that share button, tag Lolly Dolly everybody and let them know. Your boy, my squad, we are live right here in the beautiful Buckhead community of Atlanta. This is the day that the Lord has made. We're rejoicing and we're glad in it. Today is Millionaire Monday, my favorite work day of the week. Millionaire Monday, January the 9th. This is officially the second week of the new year, and my hope and expectation is that your year and your day and hopefully this week is going absolutely amazing. So if you're coming on, joining us live, please hit the like button, hit the share button, put in the comments what city you're watching your boy from. I love to know what city you're watching me from. Put in the comments what city you're watching your boy from. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Ramonepreston Show. And if you don't know, now you know. I'm your host, Ramonepreston, every Monday through Friday, 12 o'clock noon Eastern Standard Time, just like now, right here on this beautiful Millionaire Monday. I bring you information. We show up here every day, Monday through Friday, 12 o'clock noon, to give you this game, to literally saturate your mind with practical tips and tools and strategies and solutions so that you can start and structure and scale any business, any income stream, any wealth building dream. So I want to say thank you for joining the show today. I hope you have a pen and a paper. And this topic that I'm going to be discussing today might be a little controversial because the topic for today's show is how to elevate your status as an entrepreneur. How to elevate your status as an entrepreneur. And one of the reasons why I know this is a very controversial and touchy subject because sometimes people have this whole idea of humility and being meek and, you know, not tooting your own horn and praising your own pawn and not puffing yourself up. And none of that has anything to do with you being successful as an entrepreneur. It really doesn't, okay? And so we're gonna just like move those myths and move those ideas about what people think entrepreneurs should be and how we should be. We wanna move all that stuff out of the way. I want to show you how to elevate your status as an entrepreneur, especially in today's world. So just in case you ain't really paying a whole lot of attention, or maybe you are, but you just don't see the writing on the wall, every day is getting tougher and tougher for entrepreneurs to be successful. It ain't easy because this is a very competitive world that we live in, especially the entrepreneurial world, the business marketplace. There's a lot going on, okay? There are a lot of entrepreneurs, there are a lot of businesses, there are a lot of people who are side hustling, making money. Things are happening. But guess what? There are a lot of businesses that's dying. There are a lot of industries that's dying. There are a lot of people that are doing things, whether it's on the side of their as a side hustle on their business, or whether it's a legitimate business that they're running. There are a lot of people doing these things and they ain't making no money. And so I want to show you how you can elevate your status as an entrepreneur so that you can make money, so that you can help your family, help your children, help your community, help your church, and do whatever the things are that you want to do. So when I say elevating status, what am I actually talking about? Okay, because there's a whole lot of things that go with the word status, okay? So I'm talking about elevating your status as an entrepreneur. So I'm not just talking about you trying to make yourself look good to impress other people. I ain't talking about you doing what other people on social media doing, just trying to fluff themselves up. I'm talking about if you are an entrepreneur, or if you are connected to an entrepreneur, like my team, my staff, they're not necessarily entrepreneurs, okay? They are working for an entrepreneur, but they have the opportunities within my company to do what entrepreneurs can do. And in most cases, they're going to make way more money. They're probably making more money than some entrepreneurs that I know. I know a whole lot of people who got 2 or 3 businesses and they ain't making as much money as people who work for somebody make, because they do not have certain things that they need in order to actually succeed. So with that being said, when I say elevating your status, what am I talking about as an entrepreneur? I'm talking about elevating your social status. I'm talking about elevating your professional status. And at some point, this should elevate your financial status. Okay? And again, this is a myth that a lot of people have when it comes to entrepreneurship. We have this myth that, well, we got to be humble. We can't toot our own horn. We can't praise our own pawn. We can't make ourselves more than what we are, and all this crap that people use in their personal life. You can't bring this stuff in your entrepreneurial life. You cannot bring this into business and think you're going to be successful. Okay? Like, it just doesn't work like that. And I got so many examples. I can't even mention all the examples I got to show you and to prove you that is wrong. So I want you to start thinking right now, even at the beginning of this week, even at the introduction of this show, I want you to start thinking about, and I want you to start wrapping your mind around the fact that you need to be committed to elevate your status as an entrepreneur. You need to be committed to that. That means you need to be committed to elevating your social standing. Like, where do you stand in society? Where do you stand socially? Where do you stand, not just on social media, but in circles, in communities? What is your social standing? All right, you need to start thinking about this. So use the word standing right here. All right, I want you to think about that. How can I elevate my status as an entrepreneur? How can I elevate my social standing? How can I put myself in the best standing possible socially? And this ain't just social media. This is in communities. This is in certain circles. This is with certain people. This is in certain geographic locations. Like, how can I go into certain worlds, into certain environments, into certain ecosystems, and how can I make a mark? How can I have a certain status socially with certain people? You should be thinking about that. You should be wrapping your mind around that. And guess what? You should be committed to it. If you're an entrepreneur, you should be committed to it. If you want to make more money, if you want to be successful, you got to get committed to this. All right? Then think about and wrap your mind around elevating your status professionally. So how can I elevate my professional standing? My professional standing. How can I put myself in a position that professionally people see me differently? And again, if you don't want status, if you don't want a social, a professional, and a financial standing, then I'm not talking to you. But I might still be talking to you because maybe you don't want it because of what you've been taught or because of what you believe, and your information and your belief system is limited because you have this information and belief that this is not important, this is not necessary. Well, if you're going to be successful as an entrepreneur, it's going to be everything, okay? And then how can you wrap your mind around and start thinking about elevating your status financially? How can I change my financial standing? So when I say elevating your status, I want you to understand what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you elevating, taking up to the next level your social standing, your professional standing, and your financial standing. And again, this is going to go against a lot of what you've been taught about humility, a lot of what you've been taught about being seen, about getting known, about tooting your own horn and praising your own pawn. But at some point, you got to move this stuff out of the way, because none of that stuff means anything when it comes to you being a successful entrepreneur. That stuff does not have a place in that. And guess what? Personally, you might be a humble person. Personally, you might not be a bragging person. Personally, it might not be who you are. But guess what? You got to learn how to separate yourself personally from who you want to be professionally as an entrepreneur. Okay, you gotta be willing to separate those two. Because for me as a person, me personally, I can be by myself and be happy. You know, I'm a loner. You know, me and my wife, we don't have a whole lot of people that we are around all the time, because we happy with just our lives. But when it comes to business, when it comes to even ministry, when it comes to success, we can't allow our personal preferences to hinder us from getting to where we want to go. So that means we have to accept the fact that if we're going to see success, we have to be willing to elevate our status. That means we have to be willing to change how we stand socially, who we stand around, where we stand. We got to be willing to change that. We got to be willing to change how we stand professionally. We got to be willing to change how we stand financially. And we've got to be committed to paying that price, whatever the price is. And so in order to do that, you got to let go of those beliefs, those old, antiquated ideas about, well, no, I don't want nobody to look at me a certain way, and I don't want nobody to feel like I'm being cocky and arrogant. People gonna talk about you anyway. If you're not that, people talking about you. If you're the nicest person, the kindest person, the most quietest person, people still talking about you. So you might well go ahead and just beef that thing up and say, you know what? When it comes to me being an entrepreneur and a go-getter, and when it comes to me being great and being successful, it's certain things that I'm gonna have to go ahead and do so I can get to where I want to go. And it ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it, okay? So I would love to know, for those of you that are watching live today, I would love to know, are you willing? Like, this is a real question I'm asking you. Are you willing to do what needs to be done to elevate your status? Are you willing to elevate your social standing? Are you willing to elevate your professional standing? Are you willing to elevate your financial standing? Are you willing to put yourself at play to be socially, professionally, financially someone who others would like to follow? Are you willing to be that person? Are you willing to be the example, not just to your family, but even to strangers? Are you willing to accept the ridicule that comes with it? But guess what? The reward is way better than the ridicule. Yes, you're going to be ridiculed. Yes, you're going to be talked about. Yes, you're going to be hated on. Yes, things are going to go, left with some people you have relationships with. But the reward is going to be the big payoff, because you're going to have more friends, more people that admire you, look up to you, follow you, and you're going to be able to make a bigger impact. So I want to know, are you willing? Are you willing? And if you're willing, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready to elevate your status as an entrepreneur? Because we ain't got time to play games. There are millions of businesses that go out of business on a regular basis. There are millions of people who stay stuck and they never break through. Socially, they never break through professionally, and they never break through financially. And as entrepreneurs, your competition is not just the 32 million businesses in America. As an entrepreneur, your competition is global. Your competition is global because now an entrepreneur from the other side of the world can do business with somebody in America. So wherever you live at right now, your competition is not just the people in that geographic scope. Your competition ain't just the 5 or 10 businesses around you. So whatever type of business you in, whatever type of industry you in, you ain't just competing with the 20 businesses in a quarter of a mile radius than you, or the 200 businesses. You are competing with global entrepreneurs, people from everywhere, from all walks of life. So that means you got to beef your game up. That means you got to be willing to accept the fact that, you know what? I got to elevate my status. I got to change the way I stand socially. I got to change the way I stand professionally. I got to change the way I stand financially. So I would love to know, please put in the comments if you're willing and if you're ready. And maybe you can tell me right now, just based on those three, like what is the biggest challenge for you? Like, is there something that you've been taught? Is it something that you've been programmed to believe that's kept you from really changing your status, elevating your status, becoming more of a social a pillar, a professional expert or financial leader in your space or in the marketplace? Are there some things that you were taught? Maybe it's something that you're uncomfortable with, but you got to still work through these things, especially as an entrepreneur. Okay, so I would love to know in the comments. How do you feel about that? Let's see if we have anybody in the comments. So I'm gonna give you three things you can do to elevate your status as an entrepreneur. I'm gonna give you 3 things. But again, I would love to hear some feedback from those of you. Like, do you have certain beliefs or apprehensions or things that you have, you've just allowed, maybe mom of them, maybe your parents, or your community. I'm in the Christian community a lot. So a lot of people that I come around, in the Christian community, they have a lot of religious beliefs that prevent them from being like all in when it comes to entrepreneurship. I have pastors and ministers that I've talked to and consulted and have tried my best to work with many times, who they just allow this false humility to prevent them from just going all the way, because they feel like, I don't want to let my left hand know what my right hand is doing. They got all these scriptures to justify why they don't go all the way. Why they don't just give it they all. They feel like it's better to be humble. It's better to move in silence and be quiet and don't let everybody know all your moves. All this stuff is ridiculous when it comes to you being an entrepreneur, because it don't even apply to your entrepreneurship. You can't use certain biblical scriptures to justify why you're not elevating your status as an entrepreneur. I mean, you can, but it ain't gonna mean nothing to nobody but you, or the few people who have made sense of just failing and not succeeding. But if you want to be successful as an entrepreneur, even in ministry, even those of you that are ministry leaders, at some point you got to work on elevating your status. You got to accept that. So I'm gonna give you 3 things, okay? I'm gonna give you 3 things. We do have a few comments. Jack, I think it's Jacquez, and on what is it? Is it YouTube? Let me see if I can look in the comments. So thank you so much, by the way, for putting in the comments some of your challenges, some of the things that you are challenged with. So let's see here. We have okay, next level. Appreciate y'all. Jacquez, she says, separating personal self versus business self. She says, I'm an introvert, but I'm learning how to be more assertive in business. That's good. And guess what? I'm gonna tell you where a good place for you to start at. I'm gonna tell you where a good place where you can start at. Not accepting that you're an introvert. That's a good place for you to start at, because most of the times people who say they're introverts are saying they're introverts around certain people. Most of the time they're not introverts around their children, around their family. I know people right now who say, I'm an introvert. I don't do well around people, but then they be yelling and screaming and acting wild around their family members or their girlfriends or their BFFs. You get what I'm saying? So it's really something that you trigger when you get around people you're not comfortable with. So instead of like labeling yourself, just start working through the challenges. Okay, I am me. I'm me. I don't have to be an introvert to be me. I don't have to be an extrovert. Because there are times I don't want to be around people. There are times I do. I'm me. And because I'm me, there are certain things that I have to work through. I'm not comfortable around people, or I'm over comfortable. So I would just say, to start, don't give yourself a label. Just be you. Don't give yourself a label, because the moment you give yourself a label, you have to ascribe to the definition of the label that you just gave yourself. And it's somebody else's definition. Somebody else came up with this idea that some people are introverts, some people are extroverts. And I don't even care if it's clinically proven. So what? I'm me. I'm going to accept being me. And before I take definitions and labels of other people, I'm going to accept me, and then I'm going to work through the things that I'm comfortable with, the things that I'm not comfortable with. Because if I can talk loud and scream and get crazy in front of somebody, my children, I could dance and get goofy, you know what I mean, in front of them, but then I'll never do it in public. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm an introvert. It just means that I'm more comfortable doing it in front of my kids than I am somebody else's kids or somebody I don't know. I just have to work towards getting comfortable around people I don't trust or I have an issue opening myself up to. So that would be first thing, okay? So I would definitely say, you know, we're not going to label ourselves. If you're going to label yourself something that is beyond the norm. Remember, we're talking about elevating. We're talking about elevating status. So for all of you that are uncomfortable, for all of you that feel like, you know, you don't do well in front of cameras, you get nervous. Okay, well, when you think about elevating your status, what type of labels are you going to use? Are you going to use shy? Are you going to use loner? Are you going to use maybe the introvert? Are you going to use to myself? You know, are you going to use quiet? I'm just showing you, I just want to show y'all, like, visibly, these are labels. All of these are labels that, you see these labels? None of these labels match elevated status. So it's really a mind thing where you remove these labels and you say, you know what? I am committed to this, especially if I'm an entrepreneur. Because as an entrepreneur, I have a whole course in my Millionaire Blueprint program, right? And the course is called The Entrepreneur's Guide to Business. Okay, so my Millionaire Blueprint program has a course called The Entrepreneur's Guide to Business. And what I do in that particular course is I teach you the process of going from entrepreneur into business owner. And one of the things that I teach in that course is that the word entrepreneur actually comes from the word that means enterprise. So it's like the Star Trek Enterprise. You know, it's like a beam me up Scotty boy, you know, type of thing, right? And I'm saying that because I want you to understand, when you are committed to elevate your status as an entrepreneur, you're going on an enterprise. You're journeying. You're on a journey. You're going through certain growth stages, and you're willing to do it, and you're wanting to do it. You're ready to do it. You're committed to do it because you know this is going to get you where you need to be so that you can travel the world. You can drive what you want to drive, live where you want to live, help your church, build churches. Maybe you want to build hospitals and schools, and you want to go back to your communities and change them and help finance some of the greatest things on the planet. Well, all these things come as a result of you figuring out how to elevate your status socially, professionally, and financially. All right. So let me give you 3 things that you can do to actually elevate your status. All right. I'm gonna give you 3 things. Number 1, the first thing you need to do is this is like, and it's really, it's more than just a thing to do. I'll rephrase it and reword it so it can make a little more sense. I'll say these are 3 keys to elevating your status as an entrepreneur. 3 keys as opposed to 3 things to do, because you can do proximity, but proximity is more of a key. So the first key, let's reword it so that it can make a little more sense. So this would be the first key. The first key to elevating your status is proximity. Proximity, okay? So what do I mean by proximity? What I mean by proximity is you've got to get close to power. You've got to get close to power, okay? You've got to connect to people who are already living where you want to live. Does that make sense to you? So this is a critical key. This is really a critical key to elevating your status as an entrepreneur. Trust me, we live in a world today that it almost requires you to exercise proximity, getting close to powerful people, getting in proximity to them. So when you're in proximity to power, guess what happens? You start feeling the energy. So you might not have it yet, you might not be there yet, but your status elevates just because you were willing to put yourself in proximity to power, connecting to people who are already living where you want to be. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? You got to be willing to do that. So I tell my students, I tell my clients, I tell my coaching mentees all the time that if you really believe I'm living what I'm talking, and you see it in my life, and this is where you want to be, then what is the next best thing for you to do? Proximity. Get close. Like, why not? So I have a mentor. I'm a part of a coaching mentorship program. My mentor is where I want to be. He's already filthy rich, wealthy. He has indestructible wealth. He's already flying a jet. He's already building schools, and his foundation is changing tens of thousands of young people's lives and families. So he's already doing the things that I want to do on a massive international level. So what am I going to do? I'm going to exercise proximity. I'm going to get close to power. Now, in order for me to get close to power, guess what I got to do? I got to pay to play, because I can't get in the same room with these power players if I'm not willing to pay to get in the same room. But the result, the end, the elevation of my status socially, professionally, and financially, it is worth the cost that I have to pay, because I'm at least connected to power. So if you want to elevate your status, you can't be around here doing, especially if you're an entrepreneur, it's almost a requirement in today's world for you to have a coach, for you to have a mentor. Like, there's no greater way. I mean, like, literally, there's no greater way for you to, like, skip seasons and, like, move time out of the equation than it is for you to get a coach and a mentor, and for you to be in close proximity to people who are already where you want to be. Point blank, period. So I know it, because there was a time as an entrepreneur, I was so independent, I really didn't even think about having a coach and being mentored by someone and joining a community where I was around people who was already living where I wanted to live. There was just a time in my entrepreneurial journey, I didn't think about it. And then I remember the time that it hit me, and I'm like, oh my God, especially because I was doing ministry and business. And in ministry, you're supposed to have a pastor or an apostle or somebody covering you. You pay your tithes, you give, you go to conferences, you sow into people, you support people's ministry. And it hit me like, you do this already, you're just not doing it in business. So you need to take the same thing you do in ministry and you need to do it in business. And when I did it, I realized that, oh my God, like literally, I remember when I first joined my first mentorship program. And it cost me a good little bit of money, like literally. And I paid it all in full because I was that committed. But I remember when I signed up the first day, I didn't even start training. I didn't even go to an event. I didn't even go to my orientation. You know, I didn't even go to the orientation that they have. And I was like, my whole attitude changed. I felt like I was already richer. You get what I'm saying? So I'm just showing you proximity. Now, here's the thing that you want to make sure you do when you use proximity as a key to elevate your status as an entrepreneur. Here's the thing that you want to make sure you do. You get close to power. So that means when you find a coach or a mentor or an influencer, and you know they have what you need, don't shy away from getting as close as you can. So they might have many programs. Don't just think everything is like a sales funnel, even though it is, but it's an opportunity for you. So it's like you go to a free event, and then you go to the free event, and then they say, okay, well, thank you for coming to the free event, but we have a $100 program, a $100 product you can buy. But then over here, we got a $1,000 product. And then over here, we got a $10,000 product. But with the $10,000 product, you get close to power, where you don't get that close with the 1,000, and you might not get that close with the 100. You got to make a decision. How close do I want to get? I want to get real close. Like, I remember when I joined my first mentorship program, I went from a free webinar. I skipped $100. I skipped $19.97, and it was 5 figures. It was a 5-figure coaching program. I was like, I want that. Because when I saw everything that came with it, I was like, this is going to give me an opportunity to move time out the equation and get close. Because at that point, I realized my money was more valuable working for me, for my brain, than it was anything else. All right. So you want to make sure you get close, and you want to make sure that you're connecting to people who are already living where you want to live. So that may mean you got to do some research, because there's a lot of people on social media who acting like they somewhere they ain't. You get what I'm saying? I had a client that I was talking to a couple weeks ago, and they was telling me this story how they was reaching out and doing some research to join someone's coaching program, and they realized that the person didn't even have an office. Like, they didn't even have an office. Now, I know we live in a virtual world, and I know, it's like, do you really need an office? Me personally, I do, because I want a staff. I have real people. I want an environment. I want a culture. So, that person, they didn't want that. The person that I was talking to, they were preparing to join one of our programs, and they was like, I want that. I want to be able to come to your office and, be a part of real events. And I don't want everything to just be this ooey gooey virtual thing, because some of it's not real. It's kind of fabricated, and they wanted a better touch. So they had to make sure they got proximity to the right person. Another thing that you want to think about when it comes to proximity is make sure you are connecting yourself to people who are for what you're for. Okay? Does that make sense? Make sure that they are for what you're for. And this applies to them being against what you're against. I'll explain this in a minute. Okay? So for example, I'm gonna give you an example. I have people that I connect with, and that Okay. All right, we're back. My battery went dead in my one of my transmitters. My battery went dead. And what's crazy is I thought I checked that battery. I thought I checked my battery pack before the show started. When I walked in the studio and I put my mic on, I normally check my mic and then I'll check the battery pack, and somehow I didn't. So hopefully y'all can hear me now. All right. So let's get back to where I was ranting. It's so funny because I'll be sitting here talking, and sometimes I'll look at the screen in front of me and I'll see the mic thing moving, but I'm not. I'm just in the moment. I'm doing my thing. Then I hear somebody in another room. Your mic gone. We can't hear you. You're out. Stop talking. Nobody knows what you're saying. All right, so here we go, y'all. We're back. So as I was saying, when you're exercising proximity as a first key to elevating your status, you want to make sure you're connecting with people who are for what you're for. And maybe they're against what you're against. So what this does is, it challenges you. Please catch this, what I'm about to say. When you do this, it challenges you to take sides. It teaches you to take sides. So as an entrepreneur, you have to build a muscle to be able to connect with people, get close to people who are for what you're for, or you're for what they're for. Like there are certain convictions that they have and you're like, you know what, I can agree with that. Like for me, I'm against poverty. I'm against making sense of being broke. As a Christian man, as a preacher, I'm against struggling and just thinking that, you know, I'm gonna just sit back and wait and God gonna drop a Brinks bag out the sky. That ain't my belief. My belief is, instead of God doing all this stuff for me, my belief is God's gonna do it through me. So a lot of people don't believe that. A lot of people would rather sit back and pray and cross their fingers and wait for God to do it. I'm not doing that, because I've seen people do it and they've lived their whole lives and they're still broke. I'm not doing that. I'm gonna get out here and make something happen. I'm not gonna wait for somebody to have a dream and say, God told me to give you $1,000. I'm not waiting for that. I'm gonna get out here and make something happen. And I'm gonna trust that God is gonna work through me. So I'm against a lot of the beliefs that we see on just, you know, like on the mass market when it comes to business and finance. I don't believe a lot of that. I don't ascribe to a lot of that. And some of the reasons why is because of where I come from. I come from poverty. I come from a community where we didn't have resources. If we did, we didn't know about them. We did not have education in business and finance. So the route that I had to take to get to where I am in success is a different route that a lot of people take. There are people who lived in other communities that took different routes that I took. So I don't ascribe to what they believe, because I know it don't work for people like me. So guess what? You got to come into proximity and connect with people who you can be for what they're for, and you can be against what they're against. And what this does is it challenges you and teaches you to take sides. Most entrepreneurs are afraid to take sides. They're afraid to take political sides. They're afraid to take social sides. They're afraid to take educational sides. They're afraid to talk about these things, or at least build a conviction that keeps them doing the things that they need to do. And so guess what happens? They just fall for whatever. They just jump around, and like you can listen to 10 different people talk about money on YouTube right now, on social media right now, and you're going to get 10 different opinions. You got to be willing to look at one person and say, you know what? I ain't thinking about the other 9. I'm going to listen to this person. I'm going to follow this person. You got to be willing to do that. All that other stuff doesn't work for everybody. Some people may listen to 10 people and get enough out of it that they can come to their own conclusion, but everybody don't do that. Most people listen to multiple people about business and money, and one person is telling you, save your money. Don't use credit cards. Dave Ramsey tells you don't use credit cards. Somebody else tells you use credit cards. Then somebody else tells you don't invest in crypto. Somebody else tells you to invest in crypto. Somebody else tells you real estate ain't good right now. Somebody else tells you real estate. You got to take sides. You got to learn how to choose and be definitive because it's reflecting in your entrepreneurship. All right, let's go. Number 2, promotion. This is the second key to elevating your status as an entrepreneur. The second key is promotion. How is promotion a key to elevating your status? Well, I got a lot of reasons why it is. Here's something that I heard someone say. I pity the frog that refuses to praise his pond. I don't know if you've ever heard that. Let me say it again. It was once said by a man, I pity the frog that refuses to praise his own pond. So the reason why promotion is a key to elevating status is because the people who promote themselves and promote their businesses are typically the people who are making money. Promotion is really a part of branding and marketing. And so people who are unwilling to promote themselves are typically people who don't have a brand identity or a marketing strategy. They don't know what to do. They don't know who their perfect client profile is. They don't know who would be the people that will buy their products. So they don't talk to the right people, number one, and they really ain't talking to nobody because they're unwilling to promote. See, I always tell my clients this when we're working out, because I walk my clients through a 5-step process, right? And my process, it's a coaching process that I use, a consulting process I use. And when we get to the part of brand identity, okay, I call it my 3 B's. So one of my B's is brand identity. When we get to the part of brand identity, I always tell my clients, you have to decide who and what you are, not just as a person, but even as a business and a brand. You got to make that decision. And emotionally, you can't be so detached to your own perspectives and to your own beliefs and to your own views that you're unwilling to let go because you're going to sacrifice your business. See, I'm willing to give up my personal preferences for my business to succeed. So for example, the name of my business is Ramonepreston Enterprises. And my brand is Ramonepreston. But my name is Ramonepreston. So I am essentially the brand, the business, and the brand ambassador. I'm everything. But I am not personally, as a person, I'm not emotionally attached to it so that I don't feel like I'm being arrogant or cocky or prideful or boastful when I'm promoting my business. You get what I'm saying? Because I don't look at it emotionally as if, oh, you talking about yourself too much. Every time I talk about Ramonepreston, RP this, RP that, Ramonepreston University, Ramonepreston Enterprises, Ramonepreston Brands, the RP this, RP that, I don't feel any personal emotion to it because it's like, this is my business. I work for this business. This company pays me to promote it and to promote the brand, and I just happen to be the brand ambassador. It happens to hold my name. So promotion is a key to elevating your status because you got to get in the business of promoting you. And you got to get this personal thing out of you to where you're like, no, because I don't want to talk about me. I don't want to just keep talking about me. I don't want to just keep telling everybody about me. Well, you need to tell somebody about you if you're going to make some money. I mean, dog, when you going to get into real business? When you going to get to a point to where you realize that people might want a relationship with you? People might want to connect with a real person. They may not want this fictitious brand. And every time I walk my clients through my assessment, most of them, they find business names, they use business identities to hide themselves. They try so hard to hide themselves behind a business. That's their goal. Their goal is to hide themselves. But what they don't realize is they're hurting their business. You hurt your business when you hide yourself from your business. So you got to learn to promote, and you should be promoting everything. You should be promoting everything. You should promote everything you do, what your employees do, what your clients do when you're doing something for your business. You should be promoting it. So that means you should have a whole lot of social media activity, content, videos, pictures, showing all the things that you do in your business. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's what you should be doing. If you're not promoting yourself and you're an entrepreneur, it's probably because you got this subconscious belief that you're being arrogant, that you're being prideful, that you're boasting and bragging. Well, maybe you need to do all that if you ain't making no doggone money. Maybe you need to do all that. I would rather do that and make money and come back around and say, hey, I'm sorry, y'all, I was a little too arrogant. Then not to do nothing and then my business fail. Then you're not an entrepreneur. Then you shouldn't be in business. Because nobody said, see, people say that to you, right? Don't promote yourself. But nobody says that to Apple computers. Nobody says that to Geico Insurance. Nobody says that to GoDaddy. Nobody says that to Duracell. Nobody says that to Polo or to Bally. Nobody says that to them. I get emails every day from stores and companies that want to sell me stuff, promoting, we're the best, we this, we that, we're untouchable, we the next best thing since sliced bread, we're number one, we're the strongest in the market, we're the industry standard. Like, all they do is just promote. And then we as solopreneurs and small businesses, my company has 5 employees, 5 full-time employees. So we're a small business, right? But businesses that are small, whether it's 5 employees, 1 or 15 or 20, most small businesses, they don't promote like Coca-Cola. You ever notice how Coca-Cola promote? Everywhere you go, Coca-Cola promoting. Wrigley's, General Mills. You walk in a store, everybody's promoting their stuff. But the small business owner, the entrepreneur, the solopreneur, they don't want to do it because they think, oh, they're being arrogant and cocky. Well, guess what? If that's what it takes for you to make some money and be successful so you can take care of your family and do the things you want to do for your church and your community or whatever you want to do it, then do it. Because it's only something in your mind that got you thinking something wrong with you promoting yourself. And again, if you're just trying to promote yourself as a person to make yourself look good, maybe it is ridiculous. But you're trying to build something. You gotta get out of the sharky red oceans. You gotta stand out. People need to know you're different. You're there. Even not different. Some people just need to know you exist. And it's gonna take promoting, okay? That's the second key. Here's the last key, number 3. The third key to elevating your status as an entrepreneur, the third key is positioning. Positioning. This is a powerful concept that I teach. I try my best to explain to my clients and my students that you have to build a business structure. This is where my whole start, structure, scale concept comes from. Start, structure, scale. Everywhere you look, you're going to see that's what we talk about. Okay? Starting, structuring. We help you start and structure your business systems so that at some point you can scale them. But in order for this to happen, you got to have your position in mind. So for example, if I was working with you and you were just getting started with the business, most likely I'll tell you, well, first of all, start a holding company. This is what I'll probably tell you to do. Start a holding company. And then you may say, well, I don't need a holding company because all I want to do is cut hair. I want to start a barbershop, or I want to start a landscaping company, or I want to start a painting company. I would still say start your holding company. This is going to be your legacy company, and then start your barbershop, okay? Or your painting company. Because what happens is when you start and structure a holding company and an operating company, you're able to better put yourself in position to elevate your status in the marketplace. So I don't have a whole lot of time to get through all this, but I'm showing you how powerful this third key of positioning yourself is when it comes to you elevating your status. So let's say, for example, if someone came to me and they wanted to start a plumbing company, okay? They want to start a plumbing company. I always use this as an example. Plumbing, okay? And then I would say, well, listen, we want to start a holding company first. So whatever your name is, we can call that holding company Your Name Enterprises LLC, or whatever LLC. It's a legacy company. Then we'll start the operating company, OC for operating company, and this can be the plumbing company. This will be where you provide your plumbing service. This will be where you sell your products and your service. That's fine. But how does this play into positioning yourself to elevate your status? Well, I would tell you that you should have plumbing services here where you actually do the work, but here you should have consulting services for plumbing. You should be consulting people about the plumbing business. You should be consulting other people who want to start a plumbing business. So here you're going to have consulting and coaching and training. You're going to start creating this whole new business of services here because you want to elevate yourself as an expert, meaning that you want to position yourself to elevate your status, okay? And guess what? When you do that, it's going to increase the value of your operating company. Because if I'm looking for a plumber and I see Joe the plumber has a free quote, Joe the plumber can come out and give a free estimate, Joe the plumber is like any other plumber. But if I mess around and find out that Joe is a plumbing consultant and Joe has information and content and videos and YouTube channels, and Joe shares a lot of information about the plumbing industry and how Joe helps other people start plumbing companies, and he's the guru for plumbing. But Joe also answers questions. I will probably call Joe as a consultant just to get information on what type of plumber do I need before I call Joe the plumber. I'm giving you free game right here. All this information that I share with you, I have in my Millionaire Blueprint. That's why I call it a Millionaire Blueprint. And if you know this is the type of elevation of status that you want, and you know in this shark-infested bloody water market of entrepreneurship, you're not making money, you're not getting the attention and the traction that you want, I'm telling you, I have a program called the Millionaire Blueprint, and it gives you all the educational training, lessons, documents, and forms that you need to really start and structure and properly scale your business and your income streams. And so I want to give you access to these courses so that you can start the process of structuring your holding company. Maybe you already have an LLC or a couple that you just need to reorganize. We have a self-assessment. So this whole coaching process that I walk my clients through, I actually have an entire self-assessment in my Millionaire Blueprint so that you can walk through each of these steps to learn how to assess your own business so that you can identify with what your brand is, what your brand identity is, who should be your brand ambassador, what your prices should look like, how you should package your business. We have all these courses in this program. We have courses on financial literacy. We teach you how to not just make money, but how to manage it, how to multiply it. We have real estate investing courses in this program. We also have courses on sales and marketing. We teach you how to create a sales script. So if you have issues with selling your products and services, maybe you have issues with marketing, maybe you don't know how to create the right systems and processes for your business. We have courses to show you how to build a infrastructure with the right systems for your sales, your marketing, your financials, and your operations. All of this information is available. All you have to do is text the word millionaire, and I could give you access to it, and you can start training today. It only takes you a few minutes to get onboarded. So you can text the word millionaire to 404-478-7213. I'll be more than happy to give you access to it. As a matter of fact, right now we are offering a special payment plan for people who are a part of our community. So if you reach out to me, I'll extend that same offer to you to set you up for a payment plan. And I can almost guarantee you pay the first payment, you get access to this program, you start educating and training. I was just telling my staff this last week. I said, listen, I'm willing to guarantee somebody their money back if they join any of my programs and within the first 30 days they don't learn nothing and they don't get any results. I'll give them their money back. But the catch is you have to go on that platform every day and study and train. It's just no way you're going to learn the principles and concepts that I teach, that I'm living. I created all this from what I learned and I live. There's no way you're going to listen to this information, study these videos, get this content, put them to action, and within 30 days don't see nothing. It's just no way. It's no way. Most likely I could sit down with you and talk to you for 10 minutes and look at your business profile, and I could probably give you 3 or 4 strategies on how you can not only get your initial payment back, but how you can probably multiply that by 10 easily. There are 3 or 4 strategies I know, whether you're a W-2, a 1099, or a legitimate business owner, that if you implement within days, you can see results. Because what happens is, once you learn business and financial principles, and those principles start getting converted into practices, and now they are things that you practice every day, they become the strategies and the tools that anybody can use and work. So these are things that I use and work, and other clients of mine and students of mine use them and work. Everybody don't use them and work them. Some people get them, but they just don't use them and work them. But if you get them and use them and work them, you're going to see some results. Hey, my brother, as I enjoy and watch your presentations this year, I'm very impressed about what you're offering today. As I'm still in recovery from my health issues, do not give up on me. I'm not giving up on you, my friend. I will never give up on you. I am never going to be one person on that list that gave up on you, because I'm not going to give up on me. And one thing about me, I think you and a lot of people know, I'm going to show up because I'm committed. I'm committed to elevating my status. I'm committed to making sure that I have a social standing, a professional standing, and a financial standing. Everything that I teach on this show, everything I teach in my courses and my programs, I'm living it. I'm a realist. So if it's working for me, I know it's going to work for somebody else, and I'm going to help make sure that it works for you, because we're going to put you on a plan. We're going to get you in this program and put you on a plan and direct you to the courses and to the information that you need based on your criteria. We also have coaching programs. I have a 1-year mentorship program. I host a coaching call every Monday, like tonight, 7:00 p.m. We have mentees and clients that are going to join that call. We're going to be doing a deep dive to set them up for week 2 of this calendar year. So I look forward to hearing from you. Text millionaire to 404-478-7213. I thank you for joining the show today. Please put in the comments what your biggest takeaway was. What was your biggest takeaway from today's show? What was the thing you heard me say today and you was like, kaboom, whoop, there it is right there. I want to know. Put it in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube page. Follow me on all platforms at Ramonepreston, at Ramonepreston. Love you. Appreciate you. I'll be back here tomorrow. Same place, same time, 12 o'clock noon Eastern, right here